The one thing that's allowed me to be able to do that and have, 3 or 4 different kind of businesses and ventures going on at the same time is that for every single one of these, I have partners. So, or I have some sort of relationship that I've built where I can build the business, but I don't have to do a lot of the daily stuff.
I think we're live, man. And I want to be able to confirm this because I absolutely hate Facebook because Facebook, it always blocks me and like always kicks me out of the things that I really need to do, such as Facebook group and sometimes marketplace and things like that. I know pretty sure you guys have a love and hate relationship with Facebook. But since right now we are live in a Facebook group, you guys are going to be able to have the first hands in, the first dips on this podcast episode that we're going to have with Erik Wright. Okay. So right here we have Erik Wright. He's based out of Tennessee. He's a real estate investor like you guys, but he's also an entrepreneur, business owner that have had started 3 businesses in the last 5 years, and he's going hard into the real estate investing. And since we are here in the real estate investing, marketing, and conversion group, we're making sure that we understand everything that he's doing in order to successfully acquire properties right now, left and right. And we're gonna go over some of that in the podcast. So without trying to extend this more than Facebook has done it for us, we're going to go ahead and start the podcast right now. Let's go for it.
Right on.
Mic check. I'm good.
Mic check. Mic check. You can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision, it just remains a dream.
When everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility.
We uncover what high-level entrepreneurs, business owners do to rise up from hustling daily.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Join me as I share with you actionable tips to help you grow your business, learn skills, and help you level up in your self-development journey.
Your #1 spot for business and personal growth is the Online Hustlers Podcast with your host, Esteban Andrade.
Every day I'm hustling.
All right, guys. So today in the new episode of Online Hustlers, which is the podcast where we're going to uncover what great high-level entrepreneurs and business owners are doing to successfully run their business online and create millions in this economy that we have right now. And they've been doing this and through online methods. And we are the episodes for real estate investors, where we're going to cover marketing, we're going to cover conversion, sales, and all these strategies to acquire properties. And today I am very excited for this one. His name is Erik Wright, and he is based, and he actually does in virtual acquisitions in several states in the US, but he's based out of Tennessee. And we want to make sure we understand how he has started from getting free houses all the way to creating a machine that is generating opportunities to acquire properties. And we have Erik Wright right here. I'm going to put him right now in this podcast. Let me say, everyone, how awesome you are, Erik. And please say how excited you are to be this podcast, because I'm very excited. I want you to be known for someone that has been working his butt off this year and having very little flow of leads, working his organic methods. And now he is actually generating a consistent flow of sellers and properties acquisitions in your markets. So I want you to tell us exactly who you are, Erik, what you've been able to accomplish as a hustler in your business history, in your business story.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Esteban. I'm really excited to be here, man. So I started investing in real estate like a decade ago, just like house hacking, doing some small stuff, bought a couple properties off the MLS, that sort of thing. Had a few rental properties, and about a year ago, I decided I really wanted to pursue real estate full time. So I really worked a lot on SEO and kind of organic marketing through Google and that sort of thing, and have done well with that. But the leads are just not as many as I was really needing to make it a full-time gig. So then I started working with you guys in Hustle Media to do Facebook ads. And now, I mean, I think, in the past year, I've done maybe 2, I guess, up until June. So June 2020 to June 2021, I did maybe 2 or 3 deals. As of right now, between June, a couple months ago, and now, I think I've closed 4 deals or 5 deals and have another 12 or 13 under contract. So it's kind of taken off, and it's kind of, like riding a rocket to outer space right now. It's really blowing up.
I love it, man. You started about a decade ago investing in real estate, and I'm assuming that you started investing in real estate as a passive goal, or what was your was it even your intention?
It was just a hobby, and really I kind of fell into it accidentally. When I was out of college, I ended up moving into a house with a couple other roommates. There was a girl who owned the house. She lived there and rented out some of the rooms to some of us who are all kind of part of the same friend group. And then she got married and kicked us all out. Understandably, she was starting her new life with her husband and didn't want a bunch of roommates. So we all didn't have a place to go. And so at the time, I was kind of the only one that had a W-2 job that could qualify for a loan. So I was like, well, I'll buy a house and we can all just go live in my house. And so we did that. And I was like 23 at the time and bought a house. So that was kind of a fixer upper. We actually lived with my parents for a month or 2. I was fixing up the house and then moved into there. And then my roommates were paying all my mortgage plus some. And I kind of was like, there's something to this. Like, I'm living for free. I'm actually making money and owning the house, and they're paying down my mortgage. Like this is a really powerful tool. And so from there, I continued house hacking on my next 2 or 3 house purchases for, the next 10 years after that. And then it's actually funny. My wife and I actually live in our first home that we purchased that is not a house hack. So we've been house hacking for over 10 years and just now have our own house that we're not actually renting out anything to any tenants or roommates.
Love it, man. So you've been squeezing the juice out of these properties that you've been acquiring. Were there duplexes, 2 units, property?
Yeah, so the first one was a single family house, and then I actually ended up selling that one and moving from, that was in Arkansas, I moved to Louisiana, bought a duplex, lived in one side, rented out the other. Then my wife and I got married. We bought a house that had a garage apartment in the back. So we rented out the garage apartment. I kept the duplex, rented out both sides of it, and then bought another couple single family homes, just kind of the few years after that. And then, but again, just really small kind of growth every year or 2, buy another house, what wasn't really, I mean, it was making a difference, but it wasn't really like exponential growth or anything. It was going to take us a long time to really build the portfolio that we wanted, which is why I decided to really start getting into off-market deals and trying to find ways to generate those leads through SEO, through Facebook ads, that sort of thing. And that's what I've been focusing on the past year.
What was it that even got you started into looking more into the active side of real estate investing? Because I'm assuming you were having a job at the time.
Yeah, it's a great question. So whenever I was living in Louisiana, my wife and I actually met because I came on to work with a nonprofit as a homeless outreach nonprofit. And my wife worked she volunteered for another part of the nonprofit. She was a house mom in recovery homes for women and children who'd been rescued from human trafficking. And so we were kind of working the same area together. And that's when we met and, fell in love, got married and did all that sort of thing. And then, but working for a nonprofit doesn't usually pay a whole lot. And so that kind of started my, I've kind of always been a hustler, but really focusing on trying to find other ways to make money. So one of those avenues was through real estate. And then we actually were foster parents for a while. We adopted our son. When we adopted him, we decided to move to Tennessee to kind of have a fresh start for the whole family. And when we moved to Tennessee, I actually didn't have a job. So kind of turned several of my side hustles like online e-commerce stuff, eBay, Amazon, that sort of thing. Also have another company that we help groups do fundraisers selling bed sheets for like schools and youth sports teams and that sort of thing. Super random, I know. So all of those combined, and then trying to build the real estate in order to not have to get a real job, I guess, when we moved here, trying to stay flexible and be able to spend more time with family and that kind of thing. So that was kind of my reasoning for really wanting to do that.
That's awesome. For anyone that is listening to this podcast, Erik has been in other podcasts, such as the Bigger Pockets Real Estate Rookie, where he actually explains how he's snagging off-market properties without making offers, which is an interesting topic, an interesting headline to go and check it out. But he's also one of the students of one of the people that have been on this podcast, one of the first people, Gerald Nord. And am I correct or not?
Yeah, that's correct. So I started off when I was first trying to figure out what I was going to do in real estate. I realized pretty early on that the bottleneck for almost every investor I talked to was finding the deals. The investors are like, dude, there's just not enough good deals. There's not enough deals to go around. We can't, like, we've got money, we want to buy, we just can't find deals. So I knew that if I could become the guy that had the deals, then I would be able to figure out and make connections, how to monetize that. That if I could just come up with the deals, come up with the leads, that I would figure out a way to make money off that. So, as far as off-market stuff, there's, the direct mail and cold calling and bandit signs and all that kind of stuff. And all of that just sounded miserable to me. It's like you're trying to chase people down, trying to get them to sell you their house, and that's why I really like the idea of SEO, and then eventually with you guys with Facebook ads, because it's basically putting your content in front of people. And it's like fishing, but then they come to you, you don't have to go out and just try to, cold call 500 people and get cussed at, every 5 minutes for just to stop calling them. And instead it's like the people that I talk to are people who are reaching out to me because they're already motivated and they want to sell their house. So that's been a really great transition into learning how to do off-market stuff, because I'm actually dealing with sellers who I'm not trying to get them to sell me their house. They're the ones who are motivated trying to get me to buy their house, which is a different mindset kind of when you're going into these conversations.
Absolutely, man. And that all sounds nice, like rainbows and butterflies, but what the heck is SEO? So a lot of people, they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to start my online marketing thing and I want to have a website, but don't understand the power of search engine optimization, such as Google, and making sure that when people are actually doing a search, which, by the way, this is actual metrics that we've actually compiled over time, and we've seen it in Anywhere, is that 92% of people that are having a problem right now will tend to go to Google or will tend to do a search online to try to figure a solution for that, to try to get some help, whether that's going and see an article, do it yourself article, whether that's going in and typing in YouTube something, or seeking out for a help in a Facebook group, in a friend, trying to do everything right now. It's online. So it all just makes sense that we try to be there when people are doing this type of search, right? You're grabbing the phone, and they start typing something in Google, or sometimes people use Bing and sometimes people use Yahoo. Yeah, for sure, but that's the minority of people. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to pop up in your local territory and gives you a huge advantage over your competition.
Absolutely.
So explain to us, Erik, because a lot of people, they continuously have courses and gurus and YouTube talking about how you have to grab the phone and start dialing, and maybe start dialing free lists of homes, or homes in Zillow that are, sell by owner or anything. And they just get so overwhelmed with this act of just cold calling or just reaching out to more people. What made you even consider this? Why was it so important for you to go online?
So the short answer is that I'm inherently lazy. All right. So but what I mean by that is I will work really hard on the front end in order to not have to do near as much work for like the foreseeable future. And that's what I felt like cold calling and direct mail and all of that kind of stuff was just like, you're creating yourself a job, or, you know, and I know you can outsource it to VAs, whatever, that sort of thing, but it's something that has to be ongoing. Like you have to, if you stop cold calling, you stop getting leads, you know, so you have to continuously do that every day, every week. And that just sounded not fun to me. And so that's what I love about the SEO is that once I rank number one for, you know, all these different keywords for my target markets, then as long as I kind of spend maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours a week, just kind of maintaining some of my SEO stuff, as far as like with backlinks and different sort of things, those leads just keep coming in almost passively. And that's what I really enjoy about the, you know, online leads, because if you, now don't get me wrong, it was a crap load of work on the front end. All right. So like the actual doing of all the SEO stuff and setting up and building the website and all of that, if I would have known how much work it was actually going to take before I decided to do it, I might not have done it. It was a lot of work. Now, that being said, it's now that I've completed most of it, I'm just going to keep maintaining it. And hopefully for the next, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, maintain, you know, really good SEO rankings. And that's going to pay off, you know, 100-fold in the future. But I probably spent 700 to 800 hours over the course of 8 to 10 months working on SEO stuff without getting paid on it yet. You know, like it's just now starting to really, really pay off.
Yeah, man. And then when I remember when you came to us, you started saying like, hey, look, I started getting good rankings, which means my website started to pop up right in front in the top side of Google, my areas. But I need people to be the process to be accelerated of the people that come in, basically the traffic of people. And
yeah.
That's why you wanted to go into paid advertising. So like the people would go into your website in a faster rate. Mm-hmm. So like you did understand the value of putting yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Facebook ads, the benefit was kind of twofold. So the first one is that I'm actually just getting direct leads from Facebook. You know, the people click on the link and they, you know, fill out the form and we go from there and try to turn it into a deal. The secondary benefit of that was because I already had a really high quality website. Like I know Hustle Media actually offers their own like landing pages and stuff, which convert really well. And my website, we kind of did an A/B test where it was converting about the same percentage. So we decided to go ahead and direct all of the Facebook ad traffic directly to my website. And what that did was increase the traffic on my website, which then Google sees the more people going to your website, clicking around, you know, reading stuff, clicking between pages, all that kind of stuff, that people are engaging with the website, which then Google now sees as even more credible and starts ranking even higher and for more keywords and more markets and that sort of thing. So yeah, it really was just a very complementary product to the SEO stuff that I was already doing. And I think, you know, as a kind of additional benefit to the leads generated from Facebook ads themselves, I've actually started generating more SEO leads because I've had so much more traffic on my website from the Facebook ads that now Google is ranking me higher in all these different markets and for all these different keywords and that sort of thing. So it's been a really symbiotic relationship that's been really good.
I love that, man. And you know, like doing the SEO work, it takes a crap load of work at the beginning. And I know that us online hustlers, people that are just hustling and have that hustle mentality, because we've been watching so many YouTube videos about being able to stay motivated and keep going and hard work and Gary Vaynerchuk and stuff like that, just to be like work and hustle and hustle and hustle. At some point, we need to get very smart with the way that we hustle, because at some point in business, in your first years, by working so hard without creating systems, you could get easily burned out, tired, and there's a lot of your parts, your body and health start deteriorating. And you, in the beginning, you were like working yourself like into something that you wanted to make it successful, but you understood there was a lot of work put done. And you've had already 3 businesses in the last 5 years. Is that right, Eric?
Yeah, so, that's absolutely right. And even each of those businesses have kind of branched off into their own kind of other ventures as well. So like my my reselling business, eBay, Amazon, that sort of thing, started off like just going like garage sales and thrift stores, which was really like I would just find stuff and then resell it online, and was making a decent amount of money doing that. Then I went from there for pallets, like Amazon returns or Home Depot returns, that sort of thing. So I could get just kind of more bulk items at one time. And then I'm actually starting to back off of that a little bit now. My real estate stuff is picking up, but I've transitioned into creating my own private label company to manufacture merchandise to sell like brand new items under our own brand on Amazon that I'm right now with a partner as well. So, which will be a little more passive. So, going back, it's like I was going to go to thrift stores and garage sales and find stuff and test it and clean it and take pictures and sell it on eBay and all that. And now we've kind of graduated up to working with manufacturers to produce our products, ship them directly to Amazon, and then sell through the Amazon warehouses on Amazon Prime, so that we actually just set it all up, but don't actually have to do any of the work, which is nice.
That's so funny, man, because one of the first things that I started doing in my entrepreneurial journey was to try to get into Amazon FBA. Mm-hmm. And guess what was my first ever product that I tried to like put out there? It was a mask. So 1 year and a half later or something like that, COVID happened. And I didn't push enough on Amazon FBA because it required a lot of work, a lot of investigation, research, and a lot of different moving things. And I was like, God damn, like I want to hustle, but like at the same time, like I'm still not like coping with this. I'm still not like absorbing this, and it's giving me very little profits with every single sale, and it's just making me lose money. And it was a mask that I had. Okay, it was all those breathing masks like they used to bring for the gym or outdoor workouts or things like that. But
yeah,
ultimately, that was my first thing. And what is happening now is, now 1 year after, I see all this COVID thing happen, and I was like, hey, look, I could have taken this product to another level if I got in at the same time at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny that you actually mentioned about Amazon, man, because I think we all start somewhere hustling and trying to figure out what really it is for us.
And I think the one thing that's allowed me to be able to do that and have, 3 or 4 different kind of businesses and ventures going on at the same time is that for every single one of these, I have partners. So, or I have some sort of relationship that I've built where I can build the business, but I don't have to do a lot of the daily stuff. So, with the Amazon stuff, I have a partner with that we're doing all that together. With my real estate, I have a mentor that I've worked with for like the past year that we partnered on a bunch of stuff, and I'm still doing some stuff on my own now, but I still partner with him on a lot of deals. With my fundraising company, I partnered with another guy who has a similar company that I just build the business and then basically do all the customer relations, but he handles all the inventory and shipping and all that kind of stuff. So, I feel like trying to build out the systems where even if you're only taking half the profit or whatever, so in your mind, you're thinking like you're losing money, but by being able to share the workload, you can actually grow a lot bigger and make more money in the long run without having to kill yourself trying to do it all by yourself,
Man, let's start dropping some of those nuggets. I like that you started mentioning those nuggets because it's all about creating systems that help you grow. And right now, you're basically mentioning leveraging other people's time. Mm-hmm. Just like how a lot of our investing opportunities happen by leveraging other people's money in business and just growing some sort of entrepreneurial project. You want to leverage other people's time and expertise. I believe that's what you've been mentioning, right? So let's
absolutely.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So even in my real estate business, what I've started doing is I've realized that my strong suit, especially now that I put in all this work on the SEO, is that I've started expanding some of my SEO efforts into other markets that I don't even really buy in. But what I've started doing is when I expand my reach and I start getting leads from these other markets, then I've started reaching out to investors and wholesalers and stuff in those areas and developing relationships and partnerships where it's like, it doesn't take me a whole lot of time now to try to rank for a certain city or area on Google. And so I actually have multiple partnerships now set up where there are areas I don't want to buy in. I don't really know contractors in the area. I don't have real estate agents in the area, but I've connected with wholesalers that I'm like, hey, I'll get the leads to come in. I'll go ahead and vet them, kind of get an idea to see if it's actually a warm lead or not. And if it is, then I send it to them and then they take it from there. They get it under contract. They find a cash buyer to wholesale it to, and then they send me half the wholesale fee. So, they're pumped because they're getting free leads basically. But if it pans out and they're able to make a deal out of it, they send me half the profit. Now, if I tried to build my own cash buyers list for each of those markets and for every single one of those cities and try to find title companies to work with and do all the contracts myself and all of that, I would just be so stressed out. And I'm trying to build a whole new business for each one of these markets. And instead, I spend, 90% less time working on these deals and I just get half the profit because I'm partnering with people who are already in those markets and doing really well in those markets.
Love it, man. And one of the strategies right now is to basically create those type of boots on the ground JV opportunities. And like you said, if you're putting just a little bit of effort now that your SEO is being put in place and putting a little bit of effort into the optimization for those specific areas, you can ultimately have a lead generation machine that gives you basically free leads after you put the effort, and you are selecting a specific wholesalers or specific boots on the ground acquisition people that will take this lead and will basically do the back end work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a great model, in my opinion, especially for those that actually know how to grab the lead, understand the type of lead that they're coming in, and close it, lock it up in the contract. But I feel like one of the biggest struggles that I even have is choosing the right people, because I think one of your biggest things is being able to, I think you said who, not how, but one of the best things that you have done is being able to leverage people. But a lot of us struggle in finding specific individuals that would be of much help or even are qualified to do what they're supposed to do. Like, for example, in these markets, right, that you're actually doing it. How do you think that you are the best way to really filter out those people and find those specific people that you can leverage your time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of mine has just been trial and error, to be honest. Some of it has been through relationships, like in some markets that I already kind of knew, or like I'm still doing some stuff in my Louisiana market I used to live in. So I kind of still have some connections and stuff there. But even in those markets, I've got 3 or 4 different people that I kind of can partner with depending upon the type of deal, if it's going to be a wholesale, if it's going to be a flip, whatever it's going to be. And so, and then some of these other markets, like I started getting in leads from Memphis, Tennessee, that I didn't even have a city page for Memphis. I don't know how I started getting these leads. They just started coming in from my website. And so I literally just Googled like cash home buyers in Memphis, Tennessee, or We Buy Houses Memphis. And then I'm not looking for the big national companies. I'm looking to see who's actually local in that area that seems to be doing high volume, either buying the houses themselves or wholesaling or whatever. Try to do a deal. Like, you don't try to go into it right up front going, hey, do you want to be partners for the next 10 years and we can do all this stuff together? It's like, you just like, hey, let's try to do one deal together and see how it goes. And so that's what I did. And I've actually kind of gone through a couple different options and realized I didn't want to work with some people. And then I found these other people that I work better with, and, just kind of go one deal at a time. And then once you find something that works, you just kind of stick with it.
Kind of like a handshake agreement that you have with the people that you meet at those markets at the beginning.
Yeah, like absolutely. And I didn't even do any like formal paperwork, JV agreement, anything. It's just, hey, I've got this one deal. I'm getting a lot of leads in this area. I would love to establish a relationship if this is mutually beneficial. So let's do this one deal together and see how it goes. And there's always the chance that somebody's going to be shady and screw you on that one deal or not, whatever. But if that's the case, then it's like they're missing out on the next 20 deals that I would have given them. So hopefully they're incentivized to actually be to actually do what they say they're going to do, because they can see that I can bring them value. And if they're not going to perform on their end, I'm going to take my value to somebody else.
Yeah. Do you currently have a partner for your business, or you're running it and then you're leveraging other connections?
That's correct. So my business is just me, but I have probably a dozen or more different people that I work with, depending upon the location, the type of deal, that sort of thing. So rather than trying to bring on, and this is one of the things I think too, when you're trying to grow your business, a lot of times people think, oh, we got to grow. We got to hire employees to do this and get these people on payroll. And it's like, a lot of times you're better off trying to partner with people where maybe even you give them a bigger cut of the deal or whatever, but they only get paid if you get paid. So you're both invested in the success of the deal or whatever it is that's going on. And so that way, you don't have this a lot of overhead as far as salaries or, hourly wages, that sort of thing. Establishing those partnerships can be a less expensive on the front end way to be able to leverage other people and then just give them kind of a cut of the profits. So that way you don't have to come out that money up front for salaries and wages and that sort of thing.
Man, me myself, when I was in the middle of the growth, that there's a ceiling of the company that I'm building and I've been building, is I needed help, and I thought that I needed a partner to handle my business. And I really recommend to the listeners to really listen to Rocket Fuel. Rocket Fuel is a book. Have you listened to it? Have you actually read it, Eric?
I haven't actually.
So a Rocket Fuel actually talks about how there is a visionary and an integrator on a business, and how both will work extremely well together whenever you're having the same type of vision and you share core values that are the same. And in a business, a visionary is the one that takes ideas to another level, are always creating things, are always trying to see the 5 steps ahead of what can be done, and putting things together in an idea kind of box, and making sure that leads the team towards that idea. But the integrator is that person that puts all the pieces together, all those gears that are moving in a day-to-day basis, and puts people together and make sure that stuff happen and that are not falling through the cracks, but also make sure that that idea is doable as possible. And if that idea is something that doesn't make sense, it kind of sift through the idea and we actually move forward something that is at the moment doable. Many, many different things that integrator and visionary actually have. And so I really recommend that you read and listen Rocket Fuel and take the crystallizer test online. So basically, we'll talk about how you can have a partner in your business, or multiple partners in your business, just like Eric actually did and has right now, that share that share same visions, same type of motivations, but maybe their qualifications or their skill sets might be different. Because Eric right now he's sitting at home, he's with his in one location, and he's mastering this website that is now generating leads for other markets, and also driving traffic and leveraging other people's qualities and skills. So I really recommend that you actually do that and take the crystallizer test if you're looking into the partnerships part of it, because that's what Eric has been able to leverage throughout this time. But hey, man, Eric, you started doing this smarter work, creating systems around the lead generation processes that you have right now. and you hired based on basically commissions. You basically hired based on investment that they also have to put. So your team is basically, if you don't work and if I don't make money, you're also not going to make money. So therefore, we're both in this heavily invested, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to shift that hustle mentality. Yeah, that I have to do everything myself. All right. So
yes, that's super key. And I'm that way, and I know I have a feeling from our conversations that you are too. That it's one of those like this is my thing. I'm gonna just bury myself in it until I figure it all out, and I'm gonna figure out a way to make this work no matter what. But then along that process, you've got to be able to figure out, okay, what can I take off my plate and leverage, like you said, other people's time and expertise. I think expertise even being more important than the time aspect of it, because, if somebody is really good, I think there's some story about the guy who went to go fix like this cruise ship, like the engine on the cruise ship was messed up. And so the guy kind of came over and he like looked around, he took a hammer and he did like 2 taps on one little part of the engine started up, it's good to go. And they're like, all right, send us an invoice. And he sent them an invoice for $15,000. And they're like, $15,000? Like, you walked in and tapped the hammer 2 times on this part of the engine. Like, why are you charging us $15,000? And he's like, well, you're not paying me $15,000 for tapping the engine. You're paying me $15,000 for knowing where to tap on the engine. And that's the expertise aspect of it, where he was an expert in his field. He was able to do that. And so that's what I'm trying to do is even in the people that I partner with, it seems like a lot of times, like if I'm splitting 50-50 wholesale fees with some of these people, that's a big chunk of money sometimes. It's like, and they may only have 15, 20 hours in the deal or whatever it is that they're doing, and they're making a $10,000, $15,000 wholesale fee. But to me, I don't have cash buyers in that area. They have the connections with the cash buyers. I don't know the area and the streets and know kind of the areas of town people want to be in and don't want to be in, but they do know that. I'm just the one who came up with the lead, and then I give it to them and allow their expertise to figure out how to monetize that lead. So I feel like, in the end, you may actually be paying people a significant sum of money, but your risk is a lot lower because you don't pay them until you also get paid, which I feel like is key, because then it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off of like, I got to make money because I got to be able to pay my employees payroll. They make money when I make money.
Another key to success, like DJ Khaled says, another one. That one is absolutely key. And as a matter of fact, I think you were telling me about a potential opportunity that is out there that it could be pretty big, and you could not have done it without someone in boots on the grounds. Of course, we don't want to jinx it because it's still not locked up, but you have a very good feeling about it. But just tell us about what was this opportunity coming from, and what is this opportunity all about? Because it's pretty huge. It's about full mobile park.
Yeah, so we hopefully have a verbal agreement, hopefully getting it signed today on a 40 acres mobile home park. It's only got 8 mobile homes on it currently, but there's a lot of room to expand. That actually came from one of the Facebook ads that Hessel Media did for me. That it was an interesting deal that is not something that I've ever dealt with before. I've never bought a mobile home park, but it's through partnering with a local guy here, my mentor. Actually, I brought it to him, and we've been working on it together, and we're hoping to get that one locked up here today, and then be able to close on that in about 45 days. So I'm pretty pumped about that one. I think it's going to be a good deal. The seller is going to owner finance it to us, so that way we don't have to come out a lot of money up front, which is always ideal. And then my partner is going to use his expertise in doing creative deals and that sort of thing to help us figure out how to monetize it the best.
One of the things that I've noticed, man, that is going to help a lot of the audience that is listening to this is you're pretty agile in the industry, in the sales process. You just don't go for the cash offer, lowball offer, and then next one. You've been able to really really be agile, and I'm pretty sure you understand the importance of that. But let's talk about like, why are you not just focusing on cash offers, and why you see there's opportunities with others?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I'm really trying to focus on building or gaining as many tools in my tool belt as possible, and that being able to take a deal or a lead that most investors would just see one or maybe two possibilities on, all cash offer, or maybe like sub 2 or something. And then I'm trying to figure out how can I basically gain enough knowledge and have a lot of tools in my tool belt that I can get really creative with these deals and figure out ways to make it work. And a lot of that comes from not just what works best for me. The creativity aspect comes from working with the seller to figure out what it is that they need and what it is that works best for them. And then trying to figure out a way to move all the puzzle pieces together to create a solution that actually works best for them. So, if somebody is selling a house and they don't necessarily need all of the cash up front, a lot of times I give people options. So it's like, if you want me to close in 2 weeks and pay all cash, this is what I can do. And I'll go through numbers with them, because if I'm going to flip the property, I'm going to have 6% in realtor costs, 4% negotiation, 2% closing costs. I'm going to have holding costs, lender fees, all these different things. And then my construction costs. And then I get my break even number. And then from there, then I've got to have my profit that I make on top of that. And so I'll write all that out in front of the seller so they can see exactly what my numbers are and go, okay, so if you want me to just buy all cash up front, like and close in 2 weeks, this is where I'm going to be at. And most of the time you can see on their face just kind of falls and they're like, oh, like that's really low. That's not what I was hoping for. And I'm like, I get that. Like, that's totally fine. I can probably get you more than this number if we do it another way. Is that something you're interested in? And then at that point, if they say yes, then you ask them, okay, what is it that you're planning on doing with the cash that you make from this property? What's your plans? And they're like, well, I was going to take $20,000 and buy a RV because we wanted to go travel the country for a little bit. Okay. So really what you're saying is you need 20 grand now for that. What do you have any other bills? Like, are you trying to, so you try to figure out how much money they actually need right now. And then is there a mortgage? Is there not? If there's a mortgage, then you can talk about possibly sub 2. If there's not, then you can talk about kind of some now, some later owner financing. Like, okay, so if you only need 20 grand now, if I can give you the overall price that you wanted, I can do that if we spread it out over a number of years. Is that something you'd be interested in? And so that way the seller feels like you're trying to really work with them to give them what they need, but they understand that you can't just give them their asking price all cash because they see in front of them on paper the numbers don't work, and because they can't argue with the numbers when you're showing them, this is what I can sell it for. These are all the costs I'm going to have. Here's my break even. I've got to make a profit. Here's what I can offer. And I've had even people that really don't like that number and aren't interested in any of my creative financing deals, but they're not mad at me because they understand. They're like, I get it. Your numbers make sense. That's just too low. I can't do that. And then we part ways and it's fine and it's cordial. And, I'm not getting cussed out for lowballing them, because they understand where my numbers are coming from.
I absolutely love how you're crushing those type of options and handling the sellers that actually don't understand that there is much more to do with whenever they have a situation. And hey, man, I think you should be part of those sales calls that we're having on a Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on a weekly basis. It may stay at that time, but I think you should be one of the sub coaches there. You should. Hey, man,
I'd love to.
It sounds like you have the flow and the expertise to be able to actually chime in with other members that are maybe struggle into getting into the mindset of that there is people that truly need help, and instead of putting just the sales hat on all the time, you actually take the sales hat and put the consultant hat on, which is a little bit of a different approach, where you're actually, regardless whether it's a good fit or not, you're actually wanting to always find this best type of solution for the seller. And so you're marketing as a problem solver and marketing yourself as someone that really people want to do business with. And right now you mentioned sub 2, you mentioned seller finance, you mentioned all these creative things. There is one of one of my coaches that I'm part of Mastermind is the SOP 2 Mastermind and SOP 2 mentorship. If you ever are interested in learning about other ways to actually monetize properties from those that leads that you're wholesaling or you don't know what to do, you can shout out at me, contact me. I'll connect you with our mentor. His name is Pace Morby, and I'll be able to hook you up with a good deal. At the same time, if you're actually looking to generate inbound motivated sellers, just like Erik Wright is currently doing, and maybe start doing it in different virtual markets. You don't have to like always pull a list of only one market and just stay there and without flexibility. Google and Facebook ads, it's going to be huge for you. So Erik Wright here is someone that is doing this extremely well. I'm always on top of his stuff. Want to be able to over deliver with him and be able to know exactly what's going on in his business, so that we can take it to other levels and help him, even if it is other marketing channels in any way. So I absolutely love Erik, and this episode has been great, man. But if you were to actually tell your listeners, okay, that are not even aware how big the online world is in real estate investing, even right now with the new changes that are in cold calling and SMS, to market yourself, to convert deals, what would you tell those people that that have no idea about this and how to eventually become a smarter hustler?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the leveraging other people's expertise is key. So whether that is like for me, like I knew that SEO is important, but I also knew that if I just hired a company that was doing the same SEO stuff for however many other 1,000 real estate investors, that I would not really be differentiating myself. The big national companies that say they can do SEO, but they're doing the exact same for you that they are doing for all your other competitors. So I found somebody who could teach me how to do it, so that way I could do it on my own and make it really good. Same thing with you guys, with Hustle Media, with the Facebook ads, is finding people who can, like, I didn't want to learn how to do Facebook ads to create the content and run the ads and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole nother thing that I would have had to learn. And instead, to leverage you guys and your expertise to do that, and you guys providing the kind of exclusivity where there's only one or two, I guess, customers you guys have in each market and that sort of thing. That way it is keeping it where it's not like y'all are running the same ads for 50 different people all in the same market, so that works really well. So I think the leveraging other people's expertise, but then also, like, as you're getting started, you've got to figure out, number one, how much time and energy do you actually have to put into growing your business? If you work a job where you already make really great money and maybe spending 20 hours a week of your spare time learning how to do SEO maybe not be the best use of your time, when you could just maybe increase the amount of money you're making at your W-2 job already, and then just network with wholesalers and stuff, people in your area to buy deals from, rather than being the one who has the deal. It all kind of depends on your circumstance and your situation, wherever you're at. Somebody like me, I don't have any W-2, much less a high-paying W-2 job. So, that my approach was then to be the one with the deals. So then I can try to find the other people to partner with and JV deals with and that sort of thing, because you'll be amazed at how popular you become, even if you're the new kid on the block, if you're the one with all the leads. Because people are always wanting juicy leads for new deals and to partner with people who are getting good deals. So yeah, that would be my advice: is figure out the time and the energy that you have to put towards whatever it is you're trying to do, and then figure out how you can become an expert or set yourself apart in one particular area. And that when you do that and you kind of rise to the top, then you'll have other people who want to partner with you and want to do stuff with you, because you're the best of the best in that one area of whatever that is.
Yeah. Shout out to Gerald Norton and
for
teaching you all this stuff. I'm pretty sure I think you're in his inner circle because you're a still student. But man, thank you so much for actually sharing that with us today in the Online Hustlers podcast for the Real Estate Investing, Marketing, and Conversion episodes. We will be having other beast people that have made millions of dollars or hold millions of dollars in real estate, whether that's passive real estate investing or active real estate investing. And today we had a great individual that has the right mindset. It has been doing things by leveraging other people's time and expertise, but also is shifting and having part of his lead acquisition and property acquisition game in the online world. So I want to thank Erik for being a part of this podcast, and please follow us in Spotify, Amazon Podcast, iTunes Podcast, and in YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this podcast with people that you think that might get a kick out of it. Or if you just absolutely loved it, give a shout out to Erik. Thank you.
Thanks, Esteban. It's a pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure to you. All right, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.